Hello everyone, this is Void Spirit. I'm here to bring you guys amazing fanfiction that you will surely enjoy. But before we start, please subscribe and like the video for more amazing content. Chapter 4. Troubles among Demon Lords. Next day. The Beastketeers arrived in the 8th day. 7 days before that, Tempest was attacked by Falmouth and Rimuru became a Demon Lord. And also gave birth to his daughter. The rest of the days were catching up, planning, recovering and Ichigo learning from Shuna. During those days, the Beastketeers traveled from home to here. Thus the morning after, they arrived in his residence's conference room. Due to having a means of communication, the Beastketeers are naturally up to date with their allies' developments. In regards to your evolution and the birth of Crown Princess, we express our sincerest congratulations. Albus spoke as they all bowed in respect before the two slimes. The princess has a much older looking appearance than her father and has sharper eyes than he did. Even better, she has a much more feminine appearance than her girly looking father. I heard about the refugees, said Rimuru. I'm glad you guys are safe, he said in relief, considering he heard that Eurazania's in trouble, but not the specifics. Thank you very much. Let's hear about this. What happened in Eurazania? Let me, Phobio the Black Panther, speak of it. Phobio offered. A little over less than a week ago, we received a declaration of war from Demon Lord Milam. He said. Carrie Sama prepared for battle. We offered to fight with him as it's war, but he said he'll handle her on his own and had us evacuate the people immediately. That would make sense, because as a leader, your country comes first and there's no country without people, Ichigo thought. Indeed, as she promised, she came a week later. Phobio continued. I witnessed the short battle between them. He said in a pained voice. She's a monster. He croaked out. Carrie Sama gave all he had, only to see she wasn't even grazed and her appearance changed. Like she donned armor and grew wings. He told them shakily as the fight replayed in his mind. She then let out a blast of power that turned our capital city of Laula into a sea of flames and punched a hole through the mountains. They can already imagine such a scenario of horror. Carrie Sama was so shocked he didn't see Sky Queen Frey sneak from behind him and slit his throat. Said Phobio in vexation. I stayed to witness the fight as my job while Albus and Sufia had our people far away enough. Good thing they were in another direction. She then took Carrie Sama and left. Dad, is that normal behavior for your friend? Ichigo asked Rimuru. Even I agree that while she's certainly capable of it, she's not the type to wipe out cities because she felt like it. Said Rimuru. She was like a typical child her age with all emotional crazies that went with it, such as easy to anger, temper tantrums and the like, but also easy to pacify if you do it the right way. He explained. Given Carrion's personality, there's no way he'd offend Milam to warrant that. He said with a frown. And another demon lord is in on this even. Was there some collaboration between factions among the demon lords in a power grab of sorts? He inquired anxiously. If there was, we'd know it and prepare for the worst to keep our country alive, as because we are co-rulers, we three focus on Eurazania's survival while Carrie Sama and our soldiers march off to war. We only fight if necessary as ordered. Said Albus. And Carrie Sama believes in meritocracy, that even he knows his place among the 10 demon lords. There's no way he'd anger anyone stronger than he, and he never cared for demon lords squabbling. He prefers to stay out of it. I see. Then this is strange. Rimuru said. I don't know much about this fray. What of Milam's behavior during the fight? She spoke very little and she never blinked, not even once. Said Phobio. And has this unnerving stare. He said. It's totally different from the Milam I met in this city not that long ago. He said, recalling his encounter with Milam in Tempest. Then, a question from me. Ichigo piped up, as she really had a bad experience with Aizen. Even if she never fell into his Shikai, that would have spelled her defeat. If it wasn't for Hana warning her, so she's really wary of anything mind-warping. Who has mind control powers among them? That would be Clayman, considering what Myron's life was under him before I freed her, unless there are others with such skill, but for now he's prime suspect. Said Rimuru before frowning. You don't think? He can clearly follow Ichigo's train of thought there. However, there are conditions needed to control someone through magic. So he knows full well it's impossible from the start. That's a possibility, but there's another factor. Who's strong in what order? Ichigo asked the Beastketeers as Rimuru was realizing things, and so was Black. It seems with Ichigo asking the right questions, they were figuring things out from another angle. In order of strength from 1 to 10. In terms of fighting skill, it's Guy Crimson, but in terms of magicule, it's Milim, but she's less skilled in fighting, so those two are tied for first place, said Albus. Following them is Ramirez in terms of magicule, but as a fighter, nobody's ever seen her fight, but nobody dares to mess with her considering Guy and Milim are backing her up. Nah, she's no fighter. Rimuru quipped. She herself told me when I sought her out to save Shizu's students who are in danger of magicule instability. She watches over the balance of the world and only interferes when needed as the Spirit Queen, so she's probably a formidable magic user at her prime and a true blue neutral as a result. Albus agreed. They were the first demon lords to exist and their places never changed. So where does Clayman stand? He's one of the newest demon lords. Albus informed them. 200 years ago, Curse Lord Kazarium before his demise under Leon Cromwell and Milim sponsored him. Carrion-sama and Frey-sama was already demon lord then, she said. So he's most likely the weakest among them now. Rimuru commented. Thus it's impossible for him to control Milim. Everyone gasped at his conclusion. What? Her power is just too absurd, said Rimuru, remembering Ellen's story about the tale of resurrection with a grim look on his face. Sometimes, a spell cast by a weaker caster cannot take hold of someone stronger than them, unless said person is mentally or emotionally weak as a condition for mind control to take hold, as mind control only works on those with weak minds or weak mental strength. Milim's both strong in power and too strong-willed, he explained. Sure, the spell is applied on her, but she'd effortlessly break it just by being too strong. She is simply playing along until she gets to the root of things, he concluded. Who knows what Frey's role is in all this, but Milim is playing pretend. A dangerous high-stakes game. She had to make it look real or she'll never know what Clayman's aim is. Frey is collaborating with Clayman for reasons only known to her and we'd never know that. But sadly, to know what Clayman's up to, Eurazania paid the price. Rimuru frowned as the Beastketeers choked. He must have decided to order Milim to wipe Laula as a test drive of his magic on her. And Milim had to play along. That bastard. Fobio gnashed his teeth in anger as the ladies pursed their lips in anger. Their bodies shaking in rage that Eurazania paid for a power struggle issue between demon lords. He stood up, murder in his eyes, but pressure from Albus stopped him. Cool it, Fobio. Albus said coldly. I understand how you feel, but don't go alone, she said. We'll do it together. Ichigo was in disbelief. She thought Albus would say the sensible thing of, let's plan first, but these guys are doing what she used to do, so she understands them. But the situation is different. After Carrion, they are the sub-rulers of Eurazania. Thus they can't do things recklessly. Then milord. Is he trying again for yet another attempt to evolve since you foiled his first attempt? Black pointed out. Most likely, said Rimuru. Too bad for Clayman. Carrion foiled him again by having his people evacuate. No souls for him to consume to become a demon lord. What? The Beastketeers are shocked with their words. They didn't see that coming from them. They were going to get killed to harvest their souls for Clayman to become a demon lord? Given what's going on, we should deal with him as soon as possible, but for now, we should prioritize the refugees before we launch a rescue mission for Carrion, as he was taken away, not killed, he said. His throat was slit, but with a demon lord's ability to quickly heal, he won't get killed from that. Not only that, there's also something strange going on here, said Sufia. I don't get why Frey let Fobio go. Harpies have eyes so sharp they can clearly see the ground from the loftiest of heights, she told them. There's no way the ruler of Harpies didn't see Fobio. Not only that, isn't Clayman already won? Albus croaked out in disbelief. What do you mean by he's trying by consuming souls? There are demon lords who went through proper channels like Rimuru-sama did. Black told them. A monster who fulfilled conditions before consuming a large amount of souls to trigger Harvest Festival for them to evolve into a true demon lord. They would undergo physical and spiritual changes and have their current skills evolve, and their current magicule power multiplied 10 times over. He explained. Since he is aiming to be one by staging wars for souls, he is most likely a self-proclaimed demon lord. The reason he lasted this long was because he had backing. Otherwise he'd be killed for his impudence long ago by the real deals, he pointed out. And his position must be shaky that he's in a hurry to keep his spot, he said. Given what we have now, he's desperate. I can see that happening now. Rimuru sighed, resting his chin on laced-up fingers. Now that we determined the reason. Sheehan, Bring me a map. He instructed Shion, who obeyed and brought Rimuru a map. Phobio, in which direction did Frey fly to? He asked, putting the map on the table. To the northeast of Eurasania, probably Milam's territory, said Phobio, tracing the map with his armored finger. But I doubt that now. Maybe even further, since Milam-sama's playing pretend. To Gistov, possibly. When the meeting ended, Rimuru went out to get fresh air. How are things inside? He asked Black. Benimaru-sama and Princess did well in calming down the Beastketeers. Black reported. Princess did especially well, rebuking them. He said with a smile as he recalled that Ichigo bonked them on the head with a knife hand. She said that being sub-leaders, they must think about the welfare of their people first instead of recklessly marching on a suicide mission. Especially as they don't have successors. Suppose they proceed with their hair-brained idea and never came back, ambitious individuals will trigger a free-for-all and who'll succeed them for sure. He said. Given how Eurasania works, there will be chaotic infighting. In your territory no less. So they can't afford to go and get killed to keep everyone else in line. They stopped and their expressions implied they have no successors, and can really see such a disaster happen. They got meek after her scolding and Benimaru-sama then proceeded to lead them to build a refugee camp. She's learning well. Rimuru smiled. From the reckless girl she once was for the sake of her friends, she learned how to think differently now for the greater good. She's taken a few good steps in becoming a good princess. Then he frowned. Too many problems are piling up. Carrion's situation. Whatever heck Milam was going undercover for. Then the aftermath of Falmouth Kingdom. And finally keeping the Western Saints in check. Too much is piling up at once. Then, should I at least take care of one matter? Black offered, eager to please. Rimuru thought about it. He has no idea of Black's full capabilities, but given how long he lived, he's experienced in many things beyond his imagination. We will decide on our next course tomorrow when Three Tempers cooled down enough. It'll be a tough job, but I believe I can count on you for a difficult job. He decided, much to Black's delight at his words and the fact Rimuru is trusting him with a big job. Be there at the meeting, Diablo. He now named Black, and a large amount of magicules left Rimuru, enveloping Black in a black cocoon of black aura. Whoa. I still can't get used to the sensation of my magic being taken when naming monsters. But to think almost half is taken. The time with Beretta took 30% of his past reserves. With Diablo being an archdemon, it naturally took a lot more than it should. Notice. Master has greatly increased the amount of his magicules through evolution into a demon lord. Raphael pointed out. Therefore it is not comparative to base it on the percentage of consumption. Ah, is that so? By the way, you're becoming more fluent lately. No, you're imagining things. Denial again. Rimuru sounded amused. Incidentally, due to your evolution, as you know, your magic has increased 10-folds. Rimuru then shuddered. And this guy took half of it. Rimuru then shuddered. Wouldn't that mean he'll be even more absurd than before? What more when he names Ichigo officially? If individual. Diablo took half, individual. Ichigo would take the same amount, so there should be no problems. Oh, so my fears were for nothing, as when she was born, she took all my energy. That was to Rimuru's relief. That was to be expected, but naming Ichigo officially is not dangerous after. Fatherhood conception is. It's almost over as the cocoon is becoming a more humanoid shape. Ah. Diablo swooned in pleasure. I'm very thrilled to accept this honor, Rimuru-sama. As the cocoon vanished, gone is his princely outfit, he now looks like a frigging butler. I will serve you and Princess sincerely from this day onward. He bowed in respect to Rimuru. Yeah. I look forward to having you officially this time around. Rimuru nodded at him before being shaky a bit, and the butler caught him gently. You're still a bit shaky from conceiving, Princess. It'll take a while longer for your soul to recover. Diablo advised. Yeah. I'll wait a bit longer to name her. Rimuru said sheepishly. Until this mess with Clayman is over. She understands, as she was born in troublesome times. He sighed with a cringe. For now, keep an eye on things for me. I will take Ichigo with me somewhere. Ichigo. Is that Princess's name? Yeah. Can't make it official yet, though, so pretend you never heard it until then. Said Rimuru. There's something I must do and she must be there for it, so we'll be gone for a whole day. He said. Until we are back, do not let anyone leave town. Understood. And they went back into the house. Eh? We're going somewhere. Ichigo asked Rimuru when he said they'll go somewhere. Yeah. Something just for two of us for a couple hours. Rimuru grinned as the Kijin ladies gasped. Oh ho. Father-daughter activity. How wonderful, Shuna exclaimed happily. Diablo will oversee Tempest in my absence in the meantime while we're gone, said Rimuru. And no matter what happens, do not leave town, he said sternly. Ea. Why? Shion wondered aloud. Let's just say what I have to do outside will be a bit turbulent, so for everyone's safety, do not leave town, said Rimuru in stern emphasis. I'll have Diablo reinforce that rule until we come back home. So what are we going to do? Ichigo asked him as they left town on foot. We'll bring back a good friend of mine, Rimuru told her as Ichigo remembered just what she saw thanks to Raphael. I have made a promise 2 years ago, and now I can finally keep it. It took me a while through Raphael and Veldora working together, but soon, he can come back out. Or, how's a dragon gonna live in town with us? Ichigo wondered aloud. He'd be too big and suffocate everyone with his presence. He's like several million of that old geezer back home and it still won't be enough. Well, he'll have to train to hold back, which is why we'll stay till sundown till he gets it. Rimuru quipped. What's freedom if you still have to confine yourself elsewhere to avoid killing others just by existing? For now, only we two can withstand his aura being slimes. Everyone else, not even Diablo, can survive his aura, he told her. Us slimes have no such problems as it's in our nature to absorb. Not to mention being reincarnators with ourselves intact, our souls are powerful. It's why we can stay while he trains to hold back. And during that time, I can absorb his excess energy so I can name you as a monster legally at last, said Rimuru. 2 birds with 1 stone, he chuckled. You'll like him though he's a little loud.